Hello there, and welcome to my mysterious world. My name is Professor Skullstein. Today, I want to uncover what really happened on the Medusa ship. Let's dive right into the heart of the event. The tragedy of the French frigate Méduse, 1816. In the summer of 1816, a French naval frigate named Medusa set sail for the coast of West Africa. What began as a routine voyage soon turned into one of the most horrifying maritime disasters of the 19th century. It was a story not just of a shipwreck, but of pride, incompetence, and the desperate will to survive. Part 1, The Mission. After the fall of Napoleon and the restoration of the Bourbon monarchy, France regained control of its colony, Senegal. To re-establish authority, the government sent a convoy led by the frigate Medusa. On board were nearly 400 souls, sailors, soldiers, and civilians, including the new governor, Julien Désiré Schmaltz, and his family. But fate had already cast its shadow. The captain, Hugues Duroy de Chaumaret, was not a man of the sea. He had spent 20 years away from sailing and owed his position not to skill, but to politics. Part 2, The Fatal Mistake. The Medusa left Rochefort in June and quickly outran its companion ships. In his haste, the captain chose a dangerous shortcut, hugging the shallow coast of West Africa. Ignoring his officers' warnings, he entrusted navigation to a passenger, a philosopher, who had never sailed before. On the morning of July 2nd, the sea began to change. The color turned cloudy, the depth grew shallower, and before anyone could act, crash, the Medusa struck a sandbank known as the Bank of Arguin. Panic spread. The ship was stuck, battered by waves, slowly sinking deeper into the sand. For 2 days, the crew tried to free her, but every hour, the ship sank lower. It became clear the Medusa was lost. Part 3, The Raft of Despair. There were too few lifeboats for too many people, so the officers built a raft from broken masts and planks, 20 meters long, 7 meters wide. It had no rudder, no sails, no compass, yet it was the only hope for those left behind. On July 5th, 147 people, sailors, soldiers, and one woman, climbed aboard the fragile platform. The captain and the governor took the lifeboats. At first, they tried to tow the raft, but progress was slow and fear began to grow. Then came the unthinkable. Someone ordered the ropes cut. In an instant, 147 souls were left adrift, alone, in the endless Atlantic. Part 4, 13 Days of Horror. The first night brought storms. Waves crashed, men screamed, and dozens vanished into the dark sea. By morning, bodies floated beside the raft. The survivors, cold, hungry, and terrified, had only a few sacks of flour and barrels of wine. Thirst drove them mad. They fought, stabbed, and by sunrise, 20 more were dead. As days passed, hunger devoured their sanity. When the food was gone, they turned to the only thing left. They ate the flesh of the dead. By the 4th day, only 60 remained. By the 8th, most were gone. The strongest threw the weakest into the sea. After 13 days, just 15 people still clung to life. Burned by the sun, broken by despair, haunted by what they had done. Part 5, Rescue. On July 17th, a sail appeared on the horizon. The survivors waved rag, too weak to shout. At first, the ship, Argus, passed them by. Hope rose, then crumbled. But hours later, it turned back. When the rescuers climbed aboard, they found only 15 survivors and countless corpses taken to the colony of St. Louis. 5 more died soon after. In the end, only 10 returned to France to tell the tale. Part 6. The Aftermath. When news reached France, the nation was outraged. 2 survivors, Savigny and Correard, published a report exposing the captain's incompetence. The government tried to hide the truth, but the people demanded justice. Captain de Chaumaret was tried and convicted, yet sentenced to only 3 years in prison. It was a scandal, a symbol of corruption and arrogance. Part 7. Legacy in Art. Among those who heard the tale was a young painter, Théodore Géricault. He spent 2 years studying every detail, interviewing survivors, and even building a model of the raft. His masterpiece, The Raft of the Medusa, captures the very moment when the survivors see salvation in the distance. Some raise their arms in hope, others lie still, lifeless. It is a painting of despair and of fragile hope. When displayed in Paris in 1819, it stunned the world. And today, it hangs in the Louvre, a timeless reminder of pride, tragedy, and the will to endure. Part 8. Closing Reflection. The wreck of the Medusa was more than a maritime disaster. It was a lesson etched in blood and salt water. A tale of arrogance and suffering, but also of courage in the stubborn flame of survival. Even now, over 2 centuries later, the whispers of the Medusa still drift across the sea.